Greetings, esteemed travelers of the heart, and welcome back to the sanctuary of truth, whatever you need. You have arrived at the only destination on the digital landscape, where we peel back the glossy layers of celebrity culture to reveal the raw, beating heart beneath. We are not here for surface-level gossip, we are here for the human experience, the stories of resilience, and the moments that define us. Today, we step away from the scripted lines and the rehearsed red carpet smiles to discuss a narrative that no screenwriter could fabricate, a narrative of sudden fear, unexpected vulnerability, and a profound demonstration of loyalty. Before we descend into the details of a night that started with starlight and ended with sirens, I ask you to ground yourself in our community. If you value independent, deep-dive storytelling, please make sure you are subscribed to Whatever You Need right now. Crush that like button to send your positive energy to the subjects of today's story, and for those who wish to be the true pillars of this channel, the join button is waiting for you. Your support allows us to keep the lights on and the stories flowing. Now, let us transport ourselves to the banks of the Bosphorus, to a night where love was tested by the fragility of the human body. The narrative begins not with chaos, but with an almost cinematic perfection, the kind of evening that poets write about and dreamers aspire to. It was a night where the heavy velvet of the sky was pinned with stars, and the ancient waters of the Bosphorus whispered secrets to the shore. In the midst of this picturesque tableau, two of Turkey's most beloved figures, Halil Ibrahim Ceyhan and Sıla Turkoglu, sought a temporary reprieve from the relentless machinery of their careers. They are titans of the screen, faces that launch millions of tweets and capture hearts across the globe, but last night, they were simply two souls seeking solace in one another's company. They selected a venue renowned for its exclusivity, a culinary haven perched on the water's edge, designed to shield its patrons from the intrusive glare of the paparazzi and the ceaseless hum of the metropolis. Witnesses who observed their arrival described a scene of radiant harmony. They walked not just side by side, but with a synchronized grace, fingers interlaced as if to physically anchor themselves against the tides of fame that constantly threatened to sweep them away. There was a lightness to their demeanor, a shedding of the characters they play, leaving only the authentic joy of a couple stealing a few precious hours of normalcy. Seated at a prime table where the moonlight danced upon the dark waves, the world seemed to contract until it contained only the two of them. It was the quintessential romantic escape, the clinking of crystal, the murmurs of private conversation, and the shared glances that speak a language far more profound than words. For the first hour, the evening unfolded with the seamless elegance of a fairy tale. They were the picture of health and happiness, inhabiting a bubble of serenity that felt impenetrable. However, as we all know too well, life has a cruel tendency to remind us of its unpredictability when we least expect it. The transition from tranquility to terror was not gradual, it was a violent, jarring shift that shattered the peace of the night. The atmosphere in the restaurant, previously filled with the soft cadence of fine dining, was punctured by a sudden, palpable tension originating from the couple's table. It began with Sıla. The vibrancy that usually defines her presence was extinguished in an instant, replaced by a harrowing pallor that alarmed those sitting nearby. One moment she was engaging in animated conversation, and the next, she was gripping the edge of the table, her knuckles white, her eyes clouding with a sudden, overwhelming malaise. It was a visceral reaction, the kind of physical betrayal that leaves one breathless and disoriented. Halil's reaction was immediate and instinctive. We often talk about chemistry on screen, but true connection is measured in moments of crisis. He did not freeze. He did not look around for assistance initially. His entire focus narrowed down to the woman before him. Witnesses describe a man besieged by worry, his voice cutting through the ambient noise with a tone of desperate urgency. He was heard pleading with her to stay with him, to focus on his eyes, his words acting as a lifeline as she teetered on the edge of consciousness. "Sıla, look at me," he urged, his voice laced with the raw anguish of seeing a loved one in distress. But the nightmare was twofold. As Halil attempted to stabilize Sıla, the invisible antagonist of the evening struck him as well. The very sustenance they had shared, intended to be a delight, carried a toxic secret. Just as he was rising to support her, Halil himself began to sway. The dizziness hit him with the force of a physical blow, his strength sapped by the same rapid-onset illness that had claimed Sıla. It was a terrifying spectacle for the onlookers. Two pillars of strength crumbling simultaneously, victims of a severe biological reaction to compromised ingredients. This brings up a terrifying thought, doesn't it? The vulnerability of being in a public place when a health crisis strikes. Whatever you need. Family, I want to ask you, have you ever experienced a moment where a celebration turned into an emergency? Share your stories in the comments below, we read them all. And speaking of stars, while we focus on Halil and Sıla today, let us know which other Turkish celebrities you want us to investigate. Is it time for a deep dive into the lives of Bariz Artuk or perhaps Demet Özdemir? Your wish is our command. Don't forget, if you're enjoying this detailed reporting, hitting that join button gives you a special badge next to your name in our comments section. As the restaurant staff, realizing the gravity of the situation, scrambled to clear the area and summon emergency services, the scene dissolved into controlled chaos. The serene dinner had become a medical emergency. Sirens began to wail in the distance, growing louder until they drowned out the gentle lap of the Bosphorus waves. The flashing red and blue lights painted the restaurant walls in strokes of urgency, a stark contrast to the candlelight of moments prior. Yet, within this whirlwind of panic, a singular narrative of devotion emerged. Halil Ibrahim Sayhan, despite fighting his own wave of debilitating nausea and vertigo, refused to relinquish his role as protector. As paramedics arrived and began their assessment, hooking them up to monitors and preparing them for transport, Halil's attention never wavered from Sıla. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to override pain with love. Even as his own body rebelled against him, his mind was locked onto her well-being. The paparazzi, ever the vultures of tragedy, had gathered outside, their lenses hungry for a shot of the star's invulnerability. They captured the moment the stretchers were wheeled out, but what they inadvertently documented was not just celebrity drama, but a profound act of intimacy. Halil, pale and visibly weakened, reached out across the gap between their stretchers. He found her hand. He held on with a grip that defied his physical state. It was a silent declaration to the world and to her, I am here. We go together. The journey to the hospital is often a lonely, sterile experience, defined by the beep of machines and the rattle of the vehicle. However, inside that ambulance, the air was thick with emotional resonance. Reports from sources close to the situation suggest that Halil, amidst the administration of fluids and the chaotic rush of the paramedics, continued to whisper affirmations to Sıla. We will get through this, he reportedly murmured, his voice faint but steady. I am not leaving you alone. This is the aspect of celebrity life we rarely see. We see the glamour, the edited photos, the polished interviews. We do not often see the raw, unpolished reality of two people scared and sick, clinging to each other in the back of an ambulance. It strips away the fame and leaves only the humanity. It was food poisoning, severe, acute, and dangerous in its intensity, but in that confined space, it felt like a battle they were fighting side by side. The shared adversity seemed to forge a new layer of steel over their bond. Upon arrival at the emergency room, the news had already traversed the digital highways. Social media was ablaze. Fans, the lifeblood of their careers, were in a state of collective anxiety. Prayers and well wishes began to flood the timelines, a digital vigil held by thousands who felt a personal connection to the duo. The hospital entrance was a flurry of activity, with security teams working to maintain privacy as family members arrived, their faces etched with the universal look of parental concern. Once inside the sanctuary of the hospital, the medical team confirmed the diagnosis: acute food intoxication caused by a spoiled component in their meal. While medically manageable, the severity of the symptoms required immediate and aggressive rehydration and observation. It was here, in the clinical brightness of the treatment area, that Halil made a request that melted the hearts of the nursing staff. He insisted, with whatever strength he had left, that they be placed in the same room. The idea of being separated by a wall, of not being able to see that she was recovering, was unacceptable to him. Treat her first, he is said to have told the doctors, displaying the classic chivalry that fans have come to associate with his on-screen personas, but which is clearly rooted in his true character. I can wait. Make sure she is not in pain. Sıla, though exhausted and hooked up to a drip, managed to reciprocate this tenderness. Witnesses describe a touching scene, where she reached out to stroke his hand, offering a tired but genuine smile. I am fine if you are here, she reassured him. We will laugh about this tomorrow. In the face of physical misery, their dynamic remained one of mutual support and optimism. It wasn't about the illness anymore, it was about the companionship. After several hours of intensive treatment, as the four fluids did their work and the color began to return to their cheeks, the doctors deemed them stable enough for discharge. The exit from the hospital was the final act of this dramatic night. Adhering to hospital protocol, they were wheeled out, still appearing fragile but significantly recovered from the initial collapse. And true to the narrative of the night, their hands were still linked. Facing the small gathering of press, and the few dedicated fans who had waited outside the hospital gates, they offered a brief but powerful testament to their resilience. Halil took the lead, his voice raspy but grateful. Thank you all for your prayers, he stated, acknowledging the wave of support. It was a difficult time, and we were very scared, but thank God we are better now. The most important thing is that we are together and healthy. Sıla, embodying grace under pressure, added the final sentiment, a philosophy that seemed to summarize the entire ordeal. Love heals all wounds, she said softly. Thank you for so much affection, we will be back soon, stronger than ever. And so, what began as a terrifying medical emergency concluded as a reaffirmation of the bond between Halil Ibrahim Sayhan and Sıla Turkoglu. They faced a sudden, violent disruption of their lives and met it not with panic but with unity. This incident will surely fade into a mere anecdote in their shared history, but the image of Halil holding Sıla's hand in that ambulance is one that will linger in the minds of their supporters for a long time. It serves as a reminder that behind the celebrity, there is just a person who wants to protect the one they love. We hear it whatever you need, are relieved to hear of their recovery, and wish them nothing but rest and health in the coming days. They have reminded us that even in the darkest moments, or perhaps especially in the darkest moments, the hand we hold is the most important thing in the world. Thank you for journeying with us through this emotional report. If this story of steadfast devotion touched your heart, please verify that you have subscribed to the channel. Leave a like to show your support for Halil and Sıla, and drop a comment below. How important is loyalty to you in a relationship? And a special reminder. Our channel thrives because of viewers like you. If you want to support independent, quality storytelling and get access to exclusive perks, please click that join button next to the subscribe bar. It makes a world of difference. Until next time, stay safe, watch what you eat, and keep your loved ones close. This is Whatever You Need, signing off.